What if the person you hated most for breaking your heart was actually shattered by a tragedy you never knew about? One glance across a freezing parking lot, and 12 years of pain, resentment, and buried love come crashing back. This isn't just a reunion, it's a raw journey of hidden guilt, profound forgiveness, and a love that refused to die. Stay till the end, it might restore your belief in grace when you least expect it. The cold Michigan wind sliced through the parking lot of Riverwood Mall like a knife, carrying flurries of snow that danced under the harsh glow of streetlights. It was an ordinary Thursday evening in mid-December, just weeks before Christmas, when the world seemed rushed and festive all at once. Ryan Thompson, at 30, had mastered the art of a quiet, predictable life. As a civil engineer, his days were filled with blueprints, site visits, and calculations that left little room for chaos. He lived in a small, neatly kept house on the outskirts of town, drove a reliable truck, and kept his social circle small. His mother was the only family he stayed close to, and tonight, he'd braved the holiday crowds to buy her a simple gift, a soft lavender scarf she would admire politely and likely never wear. Coffee in one gloved hand to ward off the chill, keys jingling in the other, Ryan navigated the sea of shoppers hurrying to their cars, arms laden with bags. Laughter and muffled conversations floated in the air, mixed with the distant jingle of Salvation Army bells. He was lost in thought about work deadlines, maybe a quick dinner at home, when his steps instinctively slowed near the food court exit. There, crouched beside overflowing trash bins, sat a young woman. She was thin, almost fragile, bundled in ragged layers of mismatched clothes that did little against the biting cold. Her matted brown hair fell like a curtain over her face, and she held out a small, dented tin can, shaking it gently as people passed. Most averted their eyes. What if the person you hated most for breaking your heart was actually shattered by a tragedy you never knew about? One glance across a freezing parking lot, and 12 years of pain, resentment, and buried love come crashing back. This isn't just a reunion, it's a raw journey of hidden guilt, profound forgiveness, and a love that refused to die. Stay till the end, it might restore your belief in grace when you least expect it. The cold Michigan wind sliced through the parking lot of Riverwood Mall like a knife, carrying flurries of snow that danced under the harsh glow of streetlights. It was an ordinary Thursday evening in mid-December, just weeks before Christmas, when the world seemed rushed and festive all at once. Ryan Thompson, at 30, had mastered the art of a quiet, predictable life. As a civil engineer, his days were filled with blueprints, site visits, and calculations that left little room for chaos. He lived in a small, neatly kept house on the outskirts of town, drove a reliable truck, and kept his social circle small. His mother was the only family he stayed close to, and tonight, he'd braved the holiday crowds to buy her a simple gift, a soft lavender scarf she would admire politely and likely never wear. Coffee in one gloved hand to ward off the chill, keys jingling in the other, Ryan navigated the sea of shoppers hurrying to their cars, arms laden with bags. Laughter and muffled conversations floated in the air, mixed with the distant jingle of Salvation Army bells. He was lost in thought about work deadlines, maybe a quick dinner at home, when his steps instinctively slowed near the food court exit. There, crouched beside overflowing trash bins, sat a young woman. She was thin, almost fragile, bundled in ragged layers of mismatched clothes that did little against the biting cold. Her matted brown hair fell like a curtain over her face, and she held out a small, dented tin can, shaking it gently as people passed. Most averted their eyes, pretending not to see her, a few tossed coins with pitying glances before hurrying away. Ryan had always felt a pang of guilt passing beggars. He wished he could help everyone, but the weight of impossibility kept him moving. Tonight, though, an inexplicable pull made him pause. As he drew closer, she lifted her chin slightly, perhaps sensing his stare. Their eyes locked for a fleeting second. Ryan's world tilted. His coffee cup trembled, hot liquid nearly spilling. That familiar nose, slightly upturned. Those full lips he once knew by heart. The faint scar on her right temple, a remnant from a childhood bike fall she'd laughed about years ago. It couldn't be. His breath caught in his throat. Melissa? The name slipped out, hoarse and disbelieving, like echoing from a dream 12 years buried. She looked up fully now, her hollow eyes widening in shock and recognition. The tin can slipped from her numb fingers, clattering loudly as coins scattered across the snowy pavement. She scrambled back against the cold brick wall, pulling her knees tighter to her chest, shaking her head in denial. Ryan's heart hammered against his ribs, a rhythm it hadn't known in years. Melissa Harper, the girl who'd been his entire universe in high school. Fierce, vibrant, with a laugh that lit up rooms and dreams that matched his own. They'd been inseparable, summer nights in sunlit fields, stolen kisses at school dances, promise rings exchanged secretly behind the old chapel. She was the one who'd made him believe in forever. Then, right after graduation in 2013, she vanished. No goodbye, no note, no trace. His calls went to voicemail, her house stood empty. Friends whispered rumors she'd run off with some older guy, betrayed him without a second thought. Ryan had believed it, let the pain fester into bitterness. It hardened him, made him guarded. No woman since had come close to thawing that ice. But here she was, on the street, begging. Broken beyond recognition. Nothing like the confident girl who'd punched a bully for mocking her friends or dreamed aloud of traveling the world. He stepped closer, boots crunching on scattered coins, voice trembling with a mix of shock and old anger. "It's really you." Tears welled in her eyes as she hugged herself tighter. "Ryan, please, just go. You shouldn't see me like this." But he couldn't move. Not now. Not after all this time. The wind howled around them, but in that moment, the parking lot faded. 12 years of questions, hurt, and unspoken longing hung in the frozen air between them. Ryan stood frozen in the fading twilight, the mall lights casting long shadows as memories surged like a relentless storm. Summer 2013 felt alive again, endless days in the sunlit fields behind their small-town high school, lying on blankets talking about escaping to big cities. Stolen kisses at dimly lit dances, her hand in his as they swayed to slow songs. The night they exchanged promise rings under a canopy of stars, cheap silver bands symbolizing a future together, college, careers, a home filled with laughter. Melissa had been everything, fierce protector, endless dreamer, the one who made his heart race with a single smile. They'd planned it all, her studying education, him engineering. A life beyond their sleepy hometown. Then, abruptly, she was gone. Phone dead, house vacant. The devastation reshaped Ryan into someone cautious, emotionally distant. He threw himself into studies, then work, building walls no one could breach. Now, seeing her frail and defeated, anger clashed with confusion and an unwelcome compassion. "Why?" he whispered, voice carried by the wind. "Why did you leave me like that? Was it really someone else?" Melissa wiped tears with a torn sleeve, her voice cracked and faint. "You think I betrayed you? Ran off with another guy? That's what everyone said. What I let myself believe to survive the hurt." She let out a bitter, broken laugh that cut deeper than the cold. "I wish it was that simple. Something selfish I could blame on youth." Ryan knelt on the icy pavement, ignoring the numbness creeping into his knees. Shoppers glanced curiously but kept distance. "Tell me the truth, Melissa. After 12 years, I deserve that much." She hesitated, staring at her trembling, dirt-streaked hands. The wind tugged at her hair, revealing more of her gaunt face. "Do you remember Joey? My little brother? How could he forget?" The energetic 8-year-old with messy curls, always trailing them, begging Ryan to play catch or video games. Joey idolized Ryan, calling him Big Bro. He died that summer," she choked out. "The night after graduation. Mom was working late shift. I was babysitting. He wanted to play outside one last time before bed. I turned away for just 1 second to grab his jacket and he darted into the street after a ball. A car." Her words dissolved into sobs, body shaking violently. Ryan felt punched in the gut, air rushing from his lungs. "Oh God, Mel. I had no idea. I blamed myself every single day. Couldn't eat, sleep, face anyone. The guilt, it consumed me. I thought if I stayed, it'd destroy me completely. And you had a bright future. I couldn't drag you into my darkness. So I ran. Hitchhiked to the next town, then further. Drifted from place to place, never looking back. All those years, he'd nurtured hate for a betrayal that never happened. For a pain she carried alone, heavier than his. Why not tell me? Call? I would have held you through it. Been there. You were going places, Ryan. College scholarships, big dreams. I felt like poison. Didn't deserve happiness, or you, after what I let happen. Silence enveloped them, heavy as the falling snow. Ryan's mind battled, lingering resentment, profound sorrow, emerging compassion. Finally, he extended a gloved hand. Come on. At least get out of this cold. Let's talk somewhere warm. She stared at it as if it were a lifeline from another world, then slowly, tentatively, placed her cold fingers in his. Ryan led Melissa to his truck, shrugging off his thick coat and wrapping it around her shivering shoulders. She felt light, almost weightless, as he helped her into the passenger seat. The drive to a nearby 24-hour diner was silent, broken only by the heater's hum blasting warm air against the frost creeping on the windows. Inside, the diner was a haven of warmth, checkered floors, neon signs flickering, the smell of fresh coffee and frying bacon. They slid into a corner booth away from the few late-night patrons. Melissa clutched the menu with shaky hands, ordering simple tomato soup and water. Ryan stuck to black coffee, watching her intently. She ate slowly, spoon trembling, wincing as if even swallowing hurt. Ryan studied her changed face, cheekbones sharper, eyes shadowed by years of hardship. Where have you been all this time? He asked gently, breaking the quiet. Everywhere and nowhere, she replied softly, staring into her soup. Started with bus stations and cheap motels. Then homeless shelters when money ran out. I cleaned houses for cash under the table for a while, good at it, invisible work. But then I got sick, pneumonia one winter, turned into chronic issues. Depression hit hard. Lost jobs, got evicted. One downward step led to another until the streets became home. Ryan's chest tightened painfully. This was the girl who'd once been unbreakable, stubborn, brave, punching bullies twice her size. Reduced to this by unrelenting shame. You never reached out? To your mom? Old friends? Anyone? Pride's a cruel thing, she said, meeting his eyes briefly. And shame is worse. I didn't want anyone knowing how far I'd fallen. Especially not you. Do you still hate me? She whispered suddenly. He paused, sipping coffee to buy time. I thought I did. Carried that anger like armor. But now, looking at you, I just see unimaginable pain. Fresh tears spilled. I don't blame myself any less for Joey. Every day, I replay that second I turned away. You were only 16, Mel. A kid babysitting. It was a tragic accident, not murder. Joey wouldn't want you punishing yourself forever like this. She flinched at the nickname. No one had called her Mel in over a decade. It stirred something soft amid the hurt. Ryan reached into his wallet, placing his business card on the table, his home address scribbled on the back. I have an extra room at my place. Clean, quiet. Stay there until you're back on your feet. No strings. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Ryan, no. I can't accept charity like that. I'm a stranger now, a mess. You're not a stranger, he interrupted firmly but kindly. And yes, you can. Maybe the universe or God made me turn that corner tonight for a reason. Why would you help me? After how I disappeared? He looked away, snow falling heavier outside the window. Because I never stopped loving you, Melissa. I just buried it deep under all that hurt and time. She stared at the card, hands shaking as she picked it up. Minutes passed in silence. Finally, she nodded faintly. As they stepped out into the night, snow blanketing the world in white, Melissa felt a tiny glimmer of hope pierce the darkness she'd lived in for so long. Ryan's house was modest and welcoming, a two-bedroom ranch with bookshelves lining the living room, engineering models on shelves, everything orderly and warm. Melissa stood hesitantly in the guest room doorway, overwhelmed by the sight of fresh linens, fluffed pillows, and folded towels on the bed. It's yours for as long as needed, Ryan said quietly. Bathrooms down the hall. Help yourself to anything. She touched the clean sheets tentatively, as if afraid they'd vanish. This feels like a dream I don't deserve. The first few days were awkward adjustments. Ryan drove her to a discount store for basics, clothes, toiletries, simple shoes. She showered for what felt like hours, emerging with skin scrubbed pink. Using kitchen scissors, she trimmed her tangled hair into a rough bob. Regular meals, eggs in the morning, sandwiches at lunch, brought faint color to her cheeks and a bit of strength to her frame. Nights proved hardest. Nightmares of Joey's accident jolted her awake, sobs echoing quietly. Ryan heard from his room but respected space until one particularly bad night when he knocked softly. "Can't sleep again?" She shook her head, wrapped in a blanket on the couch. They talked until dawn, reminiscing school pranks, their first awkward kiss, behind the gym, dreams they'd whispered about. "I always wanted to teach little kids," she confessed. "Like Joey, full of energy and wonder." "You still can," Ryan encouraged. "It's not too late." Doubt shadowed her eyes, but therapy became his gentle next push. He researched and found a counselor specializing in grief and trauma. Melissa resisted initially. "I'm not crazy or broken beyond fix." "No one's saying that," he replied. "It's about unpacking the weight you've carried alone. Healing, not weakness." She agreed reluctantly. Sessions dug deep, guilt over Joey, abandonment fears, isolation's toll. Tears flowed, but so did small breakthroughs. Ryan's routine shifted. He worked but rushed home to cook simple dinners: pasta, grilled chicken, vegetables. Evenings, they watched old comedies, laughter creeping in unexpectedly. One night, washing dishes side by side, Melissa paused. "Thank you for seeing me, the real me, under all this mess." Ryan smiled genuinely, the first in years that reached his eyes. "You're not a mess, Mel. You're a survivor. Stronger than you know." In quiet moments, brushing past in the hallway, shared glances over coffee, old sparks flickered. But neither pushed. Healing the wounds came first, rebuilding trust layer by layer. Weeks blurred into months, spring arrived with blooming flowers and warmer air seeping through open windows. Therapy reshaped Melissa's view. Joey's death was a heartbreaking accident, not her deliberate fault. Forgiveness for herself began tentatively. With Ryan's quiet support, resume tweaks, mock interviews, she applied for jobs. First, part-time at a local bookstore shelving titles. Then, drawn to children, a daycare assistant role. Her first paycheck brought tears of pride. Setbacks came, panic attacks reliving the accident, waves of doubt whispering she didn't deserve stability. "I don't belong in this normal life," she'd say during low moments. "You do," Ryan countered firmly. "Grace isn't something earned, it's given freely." Porch evenings became sacred ritual, sitting under emerging stars, sharing comfortable silences or light stories. One clear night, Melissa asked, "Do you ever regret spotting me that day? Taking this on?" "No," he replied thoughtfully. "It woke me up too. I was just existing, work, sleep, repeat. Not really living." She reached tentatively for his hand, he squeezed back reassuringly. Their bond deepened, friendship first, trust rebuilding brick by brick. Ryan introduced her cautiously to his mother via video call as an old friend down on luck. His mom, perceptive, sensed deeper history but smiled warmly. Melissa volunteered at a grief support group, sharing anonymously. Helping others process loss eased her own. Physically, she transformed, weight gained healthily, energy returned for park jogs instead of hiding. Hair grew shinier, eyes brighter. Yet romance lingered unspoken, stolen glances, lingering touches when passing tea. Both feared rushing might shatter the fragile peace they'd built. One rainy spring afternoon, while helping organize Ryan's attic, Melissa discovered a dusty photo album. Pages filled with their youth, prom smiles, summer fair cotton candy, arms wrapped around each other. She carried it downstairs, eyes misty. "Look at us. So young, so innocent." Ryan joined on the couch, flipping pages, stirring floods of emotion. "I hated you for years," he admitted rawly. "Used it to build walls, keep everyone out. I'm so sorry I let you believe the worst. That I disappeared. But you were hurting infinitely worse. Carrying it all alone." Conversation flowed deeper than ever, his string of failed dates, fearing vulnerability, her street loneliness, nights fearing danger, how guilt and resentment shaped their separate paths. I convinced myself I didn't deserve love, Melissa said, voice breaking. And I thought I didn't deserve to give it again, afraid of more pain. Tears came freely now, not only sorrow, but cathartic release. Ryan cupped her face gently, thumbs wiping tears. We're here now. That's what matters most. She leaned into him, head resting on his shoulder. No kiss yet, but the closeness felt profoundly right. Later, on a clearer day, Melissa visited Joey's grave for the first time in years, with Ryan steadfast beside her. She placed wildflowers, speaking aloud, forgiving herself, expressing endless love for her brother. Wind rustled leaves gently, as if in approval. Peace settled deeply. Back home, she hugged Ryan tightly. Thank you for bringing me back to life, one day at a time, affordable, cozy, paid by full-time daycare work and savings. She enrolled in online classes toward teaching certification, dreams reigniting. Ryan's house felt quieter without her daily presence, but they connected often, shared dinners, park walks, spontaneous weekend drives to lakes. One balmy evening on the familiar porch under a blanket of stars, Melissa turned to him. Do you really still love me? After all the pain, the years lost, everything? Ryan nodded, eyes steady. More than before. Because now I know the full you, strong through unimaginable brokenness, healing with courage. Tears glistened in her eyes. I love you too, Ryan. Always did. Just lost myself in the darkness. He pulled her close. This time, they kissed, soft and tentative at first, then deepening with years of pent-up emotion. Pain melted into profound hope. No rushed grand gestures. They dated intentionally, picnics by rivers, movie nights laughing at old favorites, rebuilding trust slowly and surely. Melissa thrived, therapy continued, new friendships formed, purpose deepened, helping grieving children at work. Ryan opened fully, frequent smiles, lighter heart, sharing vulnerabilities he'd long hidden. Exactly 1 year after that fateful mall glance, they returned to Joey's grave together. Melissa placed fresh flowers. He's watching over us, happy we've found each other again. Ryan held her hand firmly. Second chances aren't about deserving them. They're pure grace, unexpected and transformative. Marriage wasn't immediate, time to savor the journey first. But plans blossomed, travels to places they'd dreamed of, perhaps a family someday, a shared life rich and full. From desperate streets to redemptive love, two souls scarred deeply by loss rediscovered each other. Not flawless, but beautifully whole. Kindness, raw compassion, unwavering forgiveness, they mend the deepest wounds. And sometimes, enduring love patiently awaits its moment to bloom anew, proving grace arrives exactly when needed most.